Hi guys, welcome back to Rts Share Tea, where respiratory therapists live out loud. With me, your host Linda Frott, the Asthma Lady. Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome to anyone new, and I am super excited for today's episode as we are wrapping up Asthma and Allergy Awareness Month. I have guest co-host, food advocate Sherrina Gibson. Yes. Happy to have you, Sherrina.
Happy to
So,
be here.
yes, Sherrina is here and she is going to give us some parenting tips around navigating through food allergy management and just making sure everyone is good with that stuff. So, before I let Sherrina do her thing, I'm going to read her bio and we will go from there. Okay, so Sherrina Gibson is a strategy and analytic leader with expertise in community health needs assessment, quality, clinical quality improvement metrics, claims data analysis, qualitative analysis, mapping, data visualization, program evaluation, and facilitating multidisciplinary learning health collaboratives. All right. So her past and current clients include hospitals, health departments, foundation, state agency, primary behavioral health, oral health providers, statewide, national healthcare associates, and other corporations and nonprofit organizations. She is the CEO of the Carter Founder LLC, which is a Virginia-based Black women founded and led organization where they amplify community voices to drive positive change. Love it. And her most important role is as a food allergy inclusive advocate for her daughter who was diagnosed with 33 food allergies at 9 months old. Wow. So yeah, in this role, she works with providers, person living with food allergies, and their caregivers to provide support, education, and lead advocacy efforts. Thank you, Sherrina, for being here with us. You are very busy in these streets. Like, you are not playing. Like, yeah, so yes, guys. So this is the vibe of today's episode. We are talking about mastering food allergies. And so now I'm really just gonna let Sherrina do her thing um and just going about her food journey with parenting and food allergies. Go
Awesome.
ahead, Sherrina. I'm sorry. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and glad that we have this opportunity to connect because food allergies and asthma, especially for people of color, tend to be comorbidities, right?
Yes,
Many of
we do.
those of us who have one atopic related condition like
Mhm.
asthma or eczema or food allergies end up having more than one. So it's
Yep,
very important and
that's a fact.
timely that we talk about these as they all work together. Just a little bit of a background about food allergies, what it just to set the stage, level set for some folks here who may not know. Food
Mhm.
allergies is a medical condition. It's
Yeah,
really important to say because often you'll hear food allergies talked about as a dietary preference. No one
right.
prefers to not be able to eat something and potentially have a life-threatening
Right.
infection.
I want my shrimp and my crab legs. Like,
Right. Who would prefer a medical condition? It is a
yeah.
medical condition. It's an immune response called an allergic reaction. It happens when your immune system attacks the proteins in food that's normally harmless. That's why we call them food allergies. And it's
Mhm.
important for folks to know that the range of food allergy reactions, it is a range. It could be
Mhm.
hives, it could
Mhm.
be throat tightening, it could be difficulty breathing. Again, especially if
Minus
you have asthma,
minus the
that's where
lips.
it's dangerous.
My lips
Exactly.
blow up and my tongue gets tingly. I'm allergic to kiwi. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing up being
Mhm.
allergic to kiwi because that is actually something I wanted to bring up as well, is that people think food allergies and they're like, "Oh, nuts. We can't have nuts in our schools." And that's one of the many myths, and misconceptions I just wanna talk about is,
Talk
one,
about it.
it's very, very common. It is not new. It's not just the weird peanut kid at school, which I've heard
Right.
those kinds of things. And actually, it's
It's
also not
crazy.
a childhood disease. 1 in 10 adults have a food allergy. 1 in 13 children have a food allergy. So while we're talking about nuts at school, it's not the one kid with peanuts, because there's usually two in an average American classroom. It's
Yeah.
more likely the adults in the school that have food allergies.
I'm telling you. And I used to be able to eat kiwi and I like it.
Mm.
And then one day I started eating it and my face broke out, my mouth got swollen, my lips got swollen, and my tongue was tingly and I blew up and I was like, wow. And it
No.
happened to me. I thought it was like a fluke. It happened to me twice. And I was like, okay, I need to stop eating eating this because I'm not trying to be intubated or anything like that over no kiwi.
Exactly. And
Not
I
over
appreciate you saying that. Stop eating it, right? Every
yeah.
10 every 10 seconds, someone goes to the ED with a food allergy reaction. It's very, very, very
Because
serious.
they rely on the Benadryl. They
Can
think
we
the
can we talk about the Benadryl, and can I speak to our communities here, our Black and brown communities? It's
ah,
like Benadryl is the Robitussin
right.
of anything.
Everybody, everybody thinks,
Right.
well, I got my Benadryl. My high blood pressure is high. Let me get the Benadryl. It's like Benadryl don't solve that's not for high
Nothing.
blood pressure.
It doesn't solve anything, and it's terrible for you. Allergists now don't use it. It's not on your food allergy action plan. Make sure you have one if you have food allergies. All it's going to do is knock you out for 2 days. And if you're in the middle of
Right.
having the reaction, you probably don't need to go to sleep.
Ugh, tell them. Preach.
Right. So
Preach.
please don't eat the potato salad and just take Benadryl and keep it moving. Make potato salad without your allergen and keep it moving, please. And allergens are everything. You just mentioned kiwi, right? Most folks know about nuts or peanuts, but anyone can be allergic to anything. There's no such thing as allergen-free food because anyone can be allergic to anything. So when you see that label, it's typically referring to the top 9 in the United States. There are 9 foods that account for most of the reactions, right?
Okay.
So very specific. And those 9 foods are peanuts, tree nuts, almonds, cashews, those kinds of things, dairy, egg, soy, wheat, sesame,
Ugh,
finfish, and shellfish.
that's
Those
crazy.
and in other countries, it's actually more expansive and can include corn and coconut and other sulfites and other things. But here in the US, top 9 is usually what we focus on and what the labeling laws are around. But it's important to know that most folks can be allergic to anybody can be allergic to anything. And that's obviously true with 33 million Americans being having these food allergies.
And I'm glad you're sharing these things because we have the same thing with asthma with the hypoallergenic dog. It's like
Oh my
the
goodness.
pets. It's like, yeah, oh yeah, this pet, if you're allergic to dogs or cats or anything like that, it's not, we tell them it's not the fur. It's
Yes.
not, it's that's not it. It's the saliva, it's the dander, it's everything they leave behind. And so
Yeah.
I mean, you understand what I'm saying? So people, these myths are just out and about here and people say wild things to make a profit, to sell things, and like you said, the label will say allergy free, and they want to make a sale. And
They want to make a sale. And please, just like with your you have to take your triggers for asthma, your food allergy out very, very seriously. Trace
yes,
amounts can cause a reaction. So we're dog and cat allergic. My daughter has both food allergies
really.
and asthma, right?
Okay.
Which is something that we know we have to be very particular about
Oh
because
yes.
he has a breathing issue because of a food allergy trigger. We can be in, have a very serious condition. So no, we don't go into people's houses with dogs, even those who say to me all the time, hey, we only have organic nuts in our house and we have a hypoallergenic dog. I will
See.
organically end up in the ED, right? It's not about organic, I promise you. And yes, your dog is cute, but we can't touch them. We can't sit where they've been sitting, right? It's not even being
Right.
enclosed, it's in your vents. it's in your carpets. We don't have
Yeah.
carpet in our house for that reason.
Yes, yes, and I just had an episode about that, with the vacuuming and everything, and so these are things, information that really needs to get out there, especially in our community, and I think because there's just so many myths out there. So with that being said, okay, so can you share some of the biggest challenges you have faced as a parent of a child with food allergies and how you manage to overcome them?
Yes. Lots of experience, being that I have my daughter, as you mentioned, was diagnosed at 9 months of age. It's a little baby
Oh my
with
gosh.
33 food allergies, and and even figuring that out, that she had allergies, is really important, right? It's really important that if you
Mhm.
suspect allergies, that you document that, and that you take that to your primary care provider and get
Right.
a referral to a board certified allergist to make sure that you have the tests. You talk with them about what your test means, because it's both tests and your medical history that help
Mhm.
your provider diagnose you with an allergy. So some
Yes.
of the uh, lessons learned over the years and challenges is one, it's just making an entire life change. It's
Yeah.
not just what we have at lunch. It affects every area of our life. When I
Right.
go grocery shopping for my daughter, I can't just pull something off the shelf.
Yeah.
I have to
Eh,
read every label
oh my
every time.
gosh. It
I
has
have
to
to
take your
call.
time.
It
Yeah.
takes, they average that a person with food allergies or a caregiver with food allergies, because again, more adults than kids,
Mhm.
spends at least 20 more hours a week than normal folks,
Wow.
normal, other folks without living with food allergies, I shouldn't say normal,
Right.
spends 20 more hours, because you have to read the label, you have to call sometimes, because not
Wow.
all allergens are labeled. Again, if you're outside of the top 9, and those may contain or manufactured or processed on the same line, those are voluntary labels.
It's crazy.
So you do, I recommend, and I personally call and ask. I see that this says that it's vegan, but is this made on the same line as dairy? And it
Wow.
sometimes it is. And you've got to
No.
work with your provider and your comfort level and your, or your, the person you care for's allergies, to make sure that those things are safe for you. I often have to go to different supermarkets as well. I can't
I
just
would
go into
imagine.
one supermarket. Whole
Right.
Foods really is whole paycheck for me.
Okay.
Wegmans, Kroger, all of those, and it's important to know that takes time, because I can get flour here, but I have to get this certain pasta here. I get the
Wow.
fruit here. I have to get that there, and it's more time consuming and it's more expensive. So there is
I
a
I was
huge
just about to, it has
that.
to, because the
Yeah,
food insecurity, if you're already struggling with getting food, and then now you have to think about, oh, I can't just eat any regular degular thing. I mean, the stress has to be
the
like,
stress is amazing. To your point about the food insecurity, black and brown people
huh,
have a higher prevalence of food allergies and have a higher prevalence of food insecurity.
security.
I just saw an
It's a
estimate
shame.
where it's like between 20 and 40% of those who have food allergies, this is adults and kids, are food insecure. So can you
It's sad.
imagine
Yeah.
that you are at the mercy of very benevolent organizations, your
Yeah.
faith-based organizations with pantries or food banks, but if they're giving you a box of peanut butter
Yeah.
pasta,
It's there.
what do? And you know how most
You
folks
take
of
it.
color who are low income treat their allergies in the ED, because they're
Yeah.
not reading labels. Their access to foods that are free of their allergens are much higher cost,
The expense, yeah, expensive.
and also not
And
accessible if you're in a food desert.
I was just gonna say, if, and that's if they have a Whole Foods
That's
in
correct.
their neighborhood and can get to the Whole Foods. So
Exactly.
that's a lot.
The
That's a lot.
economic piece is very hard, and those at the
Oof.
lower socioeconomic scales actually spend more on their healthcare spend, because they're treating their allergies in the ED, not treating them with an allergist, with their primary care and
Mm,
other providers, again, because of access, because of literacy related issues. So that financial piece is important. And there's also, I would say, the largest piece, and it's something as it with a 10-year-old child now, and even my husband, it's the social isolation. It's
uh,
very challenging
yeah,
to go to your faith community events, which is food centric,
right.
going to a family reunion, which is food
Yes,
centric. And you have to not only bring your own food, which is cumbersome, you've
right,
got to bring your epinephrine, which has to be kept at room temperature. That's cumbersome. And there's a lot of, cultural significance and challenge about showing up with mac and cheese that's not made with dairy, that's not
right,
made with
right.
wheat. Can you imagine? Do
That's
you
a
know?
fact. Now,
Imagine
whose mac and cheese is this?
exactly. Right. I'm not putting raisins in it. I'm trying also not
Oh,
to
not
go
the
picky.
raisins. Oh, don't put the raisins in there.
Don't put raisins in it. But that is very, it's challenging. And the
It
words that
has
people
to.
use to you, kids with food allergies are more likely to be bullied. And the
Yeah,
words that even those who care for you use, like, well, here's the normal food over here, and here's your food. How would that make
yeah,
someone feel?
that's true.
How would that make a child feel, right?
Yeah.
Or an adult at the workplace when you're having a workplace gathering, you want to be there and you want to be social, but you can't eat. And in some places, and depending on perhaps your cultural background, it feels rude to
Mm,
refuse food, but it's a
right.
life threatening thing. So and another stat that's come out over the last couple of years is the anxiety prevalence amongst those with food allergies and those who
Yeah,
care for them
it
because
has to
the
be.
vigilance.
Social anxiety has to be up
Exactly.
dealing with that. That's a fact.
It's very true.
Because you just said something that hit right on the nose, and I love the fact that you said that because I'm Haitian. In the Haitian culture, when you come into someone's house and they offer you food, you take it. And
Yes,
especially the elders, because it is a sign of disrespect to turn down the food because it is an act of, it's an act of love and endearment. And if you're and sometimes they don't understand, they're not about that life, so it hurts their feelings, so I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah,
it's
that's a
hard.
thing. Yeah.
It's harder beyond, and it's not just food that you eat. It's also thinking about where food related items are concentrated. A challenge that I'm working through is how to bring my 10-year-old daughter and even myself to the beauty salon where everything contains sweet almond oil,
Oh, that's a
nut
fact.
oils in your hair, there's coconut oil. I mean, think about that, how that could exacerbate your asthma, right? Being in if
Hmm.
that's one of your triggers. There's chemicals, there's can you imagine when you walk into the beauty salon, everyone's eating because we're
Hmm.
there for 10 hours.
That's a
The
fact.
bowl has
That's a fact.
right?
All day.
It's true. But the bowl, I mean, there's just allergens everywhere. And to me, it's not just about getting your hair done, it's that really important community piece
Yeah,
of
the
being in a beauty
awareness.
salon. That's where you meet your first Black woman judge, a woman who owns her own business, your doctor.
Right.
That's where we, as African American women and even Latin women or other cultural, you in those cultural spaces, it's where you make connection. And so if you're isolated from those connections, that is a perhaps unseen impact of having food allergies.
Wow, you touched on a few things. Okay, so with that being said now, what are some practical tips you can offer to families dealing with food allergies? So, especially when it comes to dining out and social events and things like that. So we just mentioned it.
Yes. So for those persons living with food allergies and those caregivers, do not be afraid to ask questions. It's not rude to do what you need to do to keep yourself or the person you care for physically safe. Call, use cards. I write everything down. You can go online and get chef cards that you can
Okay.
always hand out. Do your research.
Okay.
I would also suggest, join
Cards.
local support groups in your area. With this being
Mm,
so prevalent, there are many local food groups. food
Mm-hmm.
allergy support groups or no
Right.
nut support groups. Richmond Food Allergy that I coordinate is one, but they're
Right.
local all over across the country. I also say to those of you who are not living with food allergies or not caregivers, be empathetic and just use
Right.
an inclusive framework. Be
Right.
inclusive from the start. Think about
Yes.
making a
Think.
mac and cheese that's still good, but that everyone can eat. Think
Right.
about not having nuts. Think about that person just as you would include anyone else with a medical condition.
Love it.
So that's what I would say. I would say be inclusive from the start, ask questions, use kind language to not
Mm-hmm.
call out that person by their medical condition. And on
Mm-hmm.
the other side, advocate for yourself. I will
Speak
bring
up.
chips that do not have corn oil and I will supply those. Can we just
Mm-hmm.
have those there? I need to know what is the ingredient in your food. Potato
Mm-hmm.
salad doesn't grow on a tree. So what's the ingredients in the
That's a
potato
fact.
salad because it makes you safe? So ask questions, write things down, join a local support group. And I would also empower folks to make sure with your providers, because everyone's a little bit different,
Mm.
have a shared decision-making relationship
Come
with your
on.
providers. That's schools,
Yep.
that's clergy, that's your primary care, that's your
Yep.
oral health, behavioral health, and allergists, and make sure that you ask the questions. Know how to use your EpiPen or your epinephrine.
Tuh.
Ask them to teach you. Ask them
Yes.
how you can keep it safe. Ask them what you should be doing given your allergy related condition in settings. Cross contact versus ingestion, everyone's a little bit different. So questions, questions,
Ask
questions,
questions. Love
and
it.
inclusivity, inclusivity, inclusivity.
Love it, love it, love it. Yes. You just and those are some really good tips. It's like don't be scared, speak up. It's like, use great use friendly language, but like keep it real with people. Just be like, and offer to bring, hey, I can provide it to share with other people, who are in my situation. You just never know. You may not be the only one. I love it. Thank you for that. So, now, with your bread and butter being data analysis, so and you
Yeah.
being a data analysis entrepreneur, so how do you leverage data to help manage your daughter's health allergies and others? And so what are there any specific tools or resources you recommend for other parents? So this is your thing. You are the data person. I have to use data, but I don't. But we know when it comes to program funding, data equal dollars. We know that. So, with that being said, I might be hitting you up to,
Yes.
for some collabo. If anybody hits me up and I want to outsource that part, I might be hitting you up. But yes, with that being said, so yeah, what would you say to that?
I would say keep good records, just like you would do a diet diary. Do
Okay,
that with if you suspect allergies and what your symptoms look like. I, just being the data person I am, I've kept over the years a tableau visualization of my dog from when I was breastfeeding to where she's 10 now
oh,
of what her
good.
numbers look like on her skin and blood tests, what
Mm,
we've tried, what we haven't tried. I also say keep in your Excel, keep a file of your spend, the dollars
okay.
that you spend for your medications, your doctor's trips, even the travel, and also your food, because you can write off on your taxes the difference between a $99 box of pasta that's
Okay.
wheat and the $5.49 box of lentil pasta that's gluten free. You can tax deduct the difference between them.
Oh,
So
okay, that's a tip. I
there's a
didn't know
little
that.
Yes, do that. Use your phone, use your apps to remind you when to refill your epinephrine, which usually
Mm-hmm.
expires in a year. Make sure you put that on your when you're going somewhere. Do I
Right.
have my epinephrine? Put a
Yes.
little air tag inside of the bag that you carry your epinephrine
That
so you keep
purse.
it with you. I also use that patient portal. Use that patient portal with your doctor. Of course, you have limited time with them, I
Mm-hmm.
send my questions beforehand. Send
Ooh,
my questions
that's a good
beforehand,
one.
have my
Okay.
thoughts beforehand. Use that technology to your advantage so that you can have an efficient and value added visit for yourself. Do that
Mm-hmm.
with everyone and get involved, be involved on your committees at your faith-based institution. I'm very involved with the disability committee at my synagogue. Get
Mm-hmm.
out there. I would also say align yourself with the broader community of support groups with chronic disease related supports. Health departments usually have special healthcare needs related supports. The
Mm-hmm.
disability community, because food allergies under the ADA can be considered a
It's a
disability.
disability, just like
So use
asthma.
that to
Yeah.
your advantage when you're gently getting people to be inclusive. And
Mhm.
I'd say for the healthcare provider community to think of food allergies because we're all seeing it rise. This isn't a time for you to really engage in some quality improvement. Really
Mhm.
taking a look at your patient population and saying, how can we do very simple plan, do, study, act cycles, right? Bottom
Mhm.
basic
PDSA.
PDSAs, right?
Yes.
Simple. How can we look at our data and say, how many of our food allergy, those who are diagnosed with food allergies, actually filled their epinephrine? And if it's at 15%, get it to 20%. How many of them have a food allergy action plan? These are a lot of the things that we did with asthma, right? When
Yes.
asthma QI really took
Yeah.
off, we made
Yeah.
sure everyone had an action plan.
Asthma
We made
action
sure their
plan.
beds were filled,
Yeah.
and we found out what were the barriers for them to complete those two really important gold standard related items. So that's what I would say, data wise, data tool wise for folks living with it, and also for the provider community. Use that data to tell your story. Use that data to answer the questions and to keep track
Mhm.
of where you are and where you need to be.
Wow. Amazing. You dropped the gems for real. I'm like, yes, yes. Okay. Well, Sherrina, this is your time. Plug away. What do you have going on? Where can we find you? We know you in these streets. Let us know what you got going on. Plug, plug, plug.
Plug, plug, plug. Well, I and Carter Foundation, my consulting company,
Mhm.
we're doing all of the things. We're out here doing community health needs assessments for
Great.
hospitals,
Excellent.
health departments in Virginia and beyond. I'm also very proud to be working on an asthma QI initiative with
Ooh,
Asthma Network. Allergy Asthma Network,
yes.
great resources, very people user focused
Yes.
resources on food allergy and asthma. And so I'm
Great.
working on QI analysis for their asthma coaching program. As
Nice.
I mentioned, program evaluations also my thing so that they can continue to get those support. So I'm analyzing large data sets, claims data sets,
Nice.
survey data to show pre-post improvements given some
Okay.
allergy interventions. I'm also on social media out there
Yes.
providing interviews like this and
Yes.
providing data on my digital data social media where I just provide resources, one
Okay.
pagers,
I'll add
on
that.
tips.
Yeah, give me the handle so I can add it into the description and we'll
Yeah.
plug people to you because this information is so needed, especially in the Black and Brown, Latina, communities. We need access to this type of information and yeah,
And I
it'll
have
improve
it.
the quality of
Just
life.
reach
You
out to
got it.
me. Yes, reach out
Yeah.
to me if you're looking for someone to do some analysis as it
Okay.
relates to QI. If you need a local needs assessment with both qualitative and quantitative data,
Mhm.
that's also what we do. We do program evaluation. We do interdisciplinary collaborative workshops as
Okay.
well. So reach out if you need any strategic support where data is a tool to help you get to where you need to be.
Sharina, I'm gonna keep you in my back pocket. Okay. No,
Thank you.
I know. I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna be needing you. So, but we appreciate you being here today, being our guest co-host. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Yes, guys, thank you so much for being here with us. As always, I hope you learned something here today. And chime in, let us know what have you done in regards to your food allergies. If you are one of these folks that are out here living with food allergies, asthma and food allergies. Like, tell us your story and your journey. So that would be a great way to remember that sharing is caring, and we really want people to share these stories, and sharing resources. All right, guys. So yes, remember Rts Share Tea podcast is on most podcast platforms on Wednesdays, and we are available on YouTube on Thursdays. All right, guys. So thank you so much. Remember, we are growing together. All right, guys. So don't forget to invest in yourself and to only compete with yesterday's version of you. See you next time.